Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Today we're going to talk about Sabrina and Walter and why we believe that Sabrina made the correct decision. I believe.
No, yeah, I'm about to say we didn't say that.
Well,
why she made the decision. You feel like it was the correct decision.
I feel like it was the correct decision.
I don't know if it was correct. I understand why.
Well, yeah, I understand. We're going to talk about why I understand and why she believed, whatever case may be. We're just going to talk about Walter and Sabrina from Ready to Love. Alright? Walter and Sabrina from Ready to Love.
So, just to recap. Last episode, Sabrina meets with Walter's aunt and his sister. And they have to make their choice. You know, they're getting their family members' input. Should I pick this person or not? And Walter started off on the wrong foot anyway, because they asked him, where was she from? And he was like, Virginia.
Yeah.
She was born in Seoul, Korea. Yeah, so that was wrong. But that was like a foreshadowing of what would come later. So Walter's family actually liked her. You know, she liked them. You know, it was all hugs and everything. And so, obviously, you know, Mumin is in with Frank. So, like, she's not even a choice. Walter has, you know, settled on Sabrina. So, when it comes down to the wire about, you know, I'm choosing you, do you choose me? Walter said, unequivocally, I choose you. And Sabrina was like, well, and her reason, because I always felt like you picked me second.
And you can't be mad at her for that. I mean, I'm not mad at her. Some fans may be mad and some agree with her. Some people are looking at what Walter looks like. Or they're looking at the outward and not the substance. I don't know, bro. So I'm just going by what we see off these short clips on the show. So I want to say that. I don't know him. I just want to know by what we saw in the short clips and by what she said. And what she said was that there had been weeks that have gone by that he had not spoke to her. And my issue, if you're pursuing after somebody, if this person is your number one, as this show likes to talk about all the time, if she's your number one, you should be on the phone with her on a regular basis. You should be communicating with her on a regular basis. You should be interacting with her, sending notes, spending time, doing all these things. And if you are, you need to make her feel like she is number one. And he failed at that job. Mm-hmm. He failed at making her feel like she was number one. And that was my biggest thing is like, bruh, if she's your only option, because he told us what we saw on the show, he has told her since the retreat that Mumin was no longer an option. Mm-hmm. Right? That mm-hmm. Mumin was no longer an option, that it was him and Sabrina. They spent the car ride together. Matter of fact, she even said in the car ride, man, you be MIA sometimes because you don't be calling me. So that was his hint right then and there that, look, I need to step my game up if I want her to be my number one. And when she made the decision and her reasoning behind it was that he didn't step his game up. He didn't build that trust and he didn't get her to the point where she felt like she was number one.
Right. And it's hard to put, I hate to say it like this, I don't know how much stock to put in what she said for like a comparison. So she might be like, I don't hear from you for weeks. And maybe it wasn't just her. Maybe that's just how he operated. Maybe he didn't talk to Mumin that frequently. We don't know. And so she doesn't know that either. So she's speaking from her perspective. Like, you didn't pursue me. You didn't court me. You know, we should have been talking on the phone for hours at a time. It sounds like most of their talking they did when they had their little dates set up. Or their outings set up. Yes, or when they had the film, which is also what I'm saying, when they had their little date set up.
Right.
And the other thing, you know, to consider is, it's like, we know Walter was married before. His wife passed away. So in the interim between his wife passing away and where we are now with Ready to Love, it's like, what kind of relationships did he have in between there? You know, how serious were they? We saw the episode where he talked about how sexual he was, so maybe a lot of those were very superficial. He didn't have to call them, except when, you know, it was time to get some. I'm gonna be plain.
Right.
You know, we don't know, and maybe, you know, you find sometimes where you think somebody's not giving you 100%, but for them that is. It's an uneven, you'd be unequally yoked when it comes to that, not to be real deep. But you know what I mean? You have to understand from that person. I think they just didn't get a good understanding. Because Walter, obviously, I mean, he was in it. You know, he looked hurt when she was like, no. He was like, what?
Yeah, he was hurt. He was.
Did you say no?
He was invested. He thought she was going to go in. But my thing is how much, if she did communicate that to him, did she clearly communicate that to him? Not beat around the bush, but say, hey, this is what I need from you going forward. And I think she kind of did that, what we saw, right? Then we don't know the private conversations that they may have had with her saying that, but this is what I need. But also, she really wanted the affection. She wanted the affection from him, whether that was holding hands, whether that was hugging, whether that was kissing. And maybe he just didn't feel comfortable doing that on camera. He may not have felt comfortable doing that on the show. You know, he may not be comfortable doing that on TV, but they had other dates. And that's my thing is that you had dates where there were no cameras. You had dates where there was with no one else there but you and her. And those should have been the times where he should have took advantage of giving her the best that he got. I'll take that from Anita Baker a little bit, right? giving her the best that he got. And so I can understand why she's saying no, but also a factor why she may have said no too is she knew the relationship between her and Walter couldn't go any further. And I want to say that because you have to put her daughter into play. She don't want to expose her daughter to just relationship after relationship after relationship. She wants to expose her to a relationship that's going to lead to something.
Right.
And maybe it wasn't really too much about the affection. Maybe it really wasn't too much about being number two. Maybe the real boiled down to the fact is, you know what? I don't see this going any further than me and you being friends, and I don't want to expose you to my daughter, and I don't want to use the word waste my time.
Can we not? Okay, let's change this. Let's say not expose, introduce.
Let's
say introduce.
Interject into our life, into our family, into our circle, into our style that we live. So she may not have been comfortable, and then I have to explain to her why you're not there.
Right. Because it's one thing for me to get my feelings invested. It's another thing when you have a child that gets their feelings invested. I like Mr. Walter. Mr. Walter takes, Mr. Walter's so fun, and then next thing you know, Mr. Walter ain't around. Or, we don't know, I think she's a little too young that Sabrina would maybe kind of talk to her, but sometimes with older children, it might be like, oh my gosh, Walter did da-da-da-da. And so meanwhile, you'd have made up with Walter and your child's still mad, but yeah, I understand that. And then the other thing was, Walter said he wanted kids.
Yes.
He wanted kids. So I see Walter, wanting to be with Sabrina, but at the root, you want to have more kids, and I don't. So that's going to be a problem later.
Right.
That would be a problem later. And then I like what you said too. We saw what they showed us. We didn't see that much affection. We wouldn't know what they were doing outside of there. But he should have been showing more then. You know what I mean? Little hand hold, arm around you, something. Hug, kiss on the cheek. We saw her talking about, when they went on a date, come over here so I can smell your neck. Come in close so I can smell your neck. And we just didn't see that from him. And I think maybe the serious Walter, maybe he moved slow when it comes to that. And he was planning on getting into that some more once, the show was over, the process. Right.
And I can't remember a man's name. We seen Sabrina when the extra guy they brought in. Sean. We saw that with Sean when they had their dinner earlier. That was a major topic in conversation. Do you want kids? Mm-hmm. Do you want to have kids? And we know when they did Walter earlier, Walter wanted kids. He wanted some kids, and so she was like, you know what, maybe she bowed out because, again, I can't give you what you want. You may not be comfortable with it, and we may waste. We might be wasting each other's time because I'm not having any more kids. Mm-hmm. And so that could be that right there, and we may not have seen that, right? Because we didn't see the whole discussion that was on the bridge or wherever they was at that whole time. So I think that led to a lot of that conversation as well with Walter and Sabrina, and why Sabrina made the decision that she made. Do I think they'll be great friends? Sure. I think they'll be great friends. Do they make good friends? Sure. But right now, she doesn't want him to be romantically involved with her.
And I think, but you know what? I think if she had this conversation, and it sounds like she did, if she had this conversation with him before and he actually stepped it up, and I think even now, they probably could still be, it could be a romantic thing. He just have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. Yeah. And she didn't see that.
No, she didn't see that. They have to definitely put in the work. Work has to be put in, so that's why I think Sabrina didn't want to be with Walter. I mean, let us know what you think. If you think something different, leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know. Is she? I think she is justified, and she's right. She's right to say, you know what, I'm not. And I guess the show title's kind of funky. Ready to Love. He is ready to love, but I'm not ready to be with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to be with you because I see some red flags or I can see some issues. So I don't want to say he's not ready to love, but in this situation, she's not ready to love him because of
or she feels like he's not ready to love her the way she wants to be loved.
The way that she wants to be loved.
Be shown love.
And shown love. So fellas out there who's watching, if your girl's your number one, treat her like your number one. Let her be number one. And ladies, if your man is your number one, treat him like he's your number one. Don't have them thinking that they're number one.
Or wondering, yeah.
Or wondering if they're number one or number two. Because anybody who feel like they're number two, they might be through. If I feel like number two, I'm going to be through. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification. Bust around, right? Make sure you hit the bars. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below, and we'll catch you down the road.